10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of Midlife Vices. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jim.
That is Jim. Every time. This is take 2 of episode 2, and we'll get into that here in a couple minutes. Actually, we'll get into it right now. So what happened was me and Jim 2 nights ago, we set up. We talked about the show. We went through everything for about, an hour. It was a little over an hour, wasn't it?
Way too long.
Yeah, a little over an hour. And I went to end broadcast, and I couldn't end the broadcast because I had never started recording. So here we go again with take 2. It was. I wish like I said the other night, I wish we would have recorded me not recording.
Yeah, that would have been.
Because that would have
been some kind of paradox.
That would have been a paradox. Yeah. But anyway, here we are.
Yes, sir.
And it's the second time, so it can only be better, right?
Yes, and it's not improvised this time, so,
So not only is it, well, that's probably worse.
Yeah.
Not only is it episode 2, it's the second episode 2. So this is the Pouch's wheelhouse, no matter how you look at it.
It's
right?
Yes, he's all over this one.
That's right. So like I said, welcome. We're going to get into a few things here tonight, but first, just start off with what you've done this week, Jim. I know you've been busy. I don't know if you got around to watching anything or wanting to watch anything, but tell everybody what's been going on.
Okay, so we got a new dog, which is, has nothing to do with TV or top 10 lists or anything like that, but it takes away from all those things.
Yeah, it does.
Holy cow. Had no idea. But last night, me and the wife did sit down and we got to watch the first episode of the Rings of Power.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I'm not sure a whole lot happened in that episode, but I sure liked it.
Yeah, they're definitely world building right now.
Yes, it was. The world's almost too pretty sometimes for me.
It's pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's too nice. It's like, I know we live in HD, but it feels like it's too much sometimes when I'm watching it on TV.
Yeah.
But, we really enjoyed it. Galadriel, is that how you say her name?
Galadriel, sure.
That's Kate Blanchett's story from the...
yes.
Kate Blanchett's character from the movies?
Yes.
Okay, that's what my wife made that connection. I would have never made that connection.
Yeah, she's pretty scary in the newer movies. Like, they always make her very ominous. Like, she's friendly and caring, but she's also a very ominous, very powerful figure in the movies, later movies, or earlier movies, however you want to look at it.
And so her friend, that's Mr. Smith.
Oh, yes, Elrond.
Yeah, okay, Elrond. I couldn't remember the name. So, okay, so yeah, she picked up both those. I would have never known it. To me, they're all original characters. But yeah,
and
really
yeah, cool. And it's set about 2,000 to 3,000 years before the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings trilogy. So that's how old the elves live for. That's how long they live for.
I want to know. I want to get past the bright light. We need to see where they're going.
The bright light.
Yeah, when they're all on the boat and they want to hold hands.
Oh, gotcha.
So I want to know what the heck's going on there.
Right.
How is that an honor? I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's where, right at the end of Return of the King, that's the boat they get on. And so it's obviously someplace pretty nice.
Isn't it pretty much death?
I think it's like a elf heaven.
Okay.
And only...
Apparently they just want to go there. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Steve? What have you been up to?
I watched episode 1 and 2. Well, episode 2 this week of Rings of Power. We've been rewatching some Daredevil season 1, Breaking Bad season 1. We also watched a really cool movie. It's just a kind of a silly movie. It's Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. It's called Murder Mystery. And he's a detective, and they end up on they're a married couple, and they end up on a rich guy's yacht, and there's a murder that happens, and they have to solve it. And it's not like over the top Adam Sandler. It's actually but it's not like his real serious stuff either. It's in between, and it's really good. It's a funny, just a fun movie. So we really enjoyed that.
Sounds like a dinner date and a dinner and a murder mystery night, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just one of those movies we probably normally wouldn't have watched, saw it on there and hit play, and there it was. I actually hit play on that. I didn't just sit there and talk for an hour and forget to start it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Sure, you can do
and
it.
I just realized that I didn't even have a nice shirt on tonight.
Oh, man.
I know.
Yeah, I try to wear one. I actually put on shirts to, I get dressed up for this.
I did last week. I meant to this week. We ended up at a dentist appointment that lasted far longer than we wanted to. So got home about 4 and had dinner, and here we are. So you all, everybody.
Yes, sir.
You should see if there's I wonder if there's a ring out there for it.
I don't know.
A drive shaft ring.
I mean, I don't have a cell phone, so it would do me no good.
No, that's not what
I could just play it, I guess.
the ring, not a ringtone, the ring that Charlie left in the baby basket, the drive shaft ring.
Yeah, well, that's a funny mistake, huh?
You meant to do that though, right? You did that on purpose.
No,
that is funny. That is funny. I like that.
So,
but yeah, other than that, I'm looking forward to watching Morbius and Thor. They're both out now, and the latest episode of She-Hulk is also out. So I haven't seen any of those. So have some fun this weekend, and plus, football has started.
I know. I don't even have it on the screen because that would probably occupy this whole show.
Yeah, I'll try not to be doing this too much.
If you just want to just me going, oh, come on, the whole time.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so I guess we can go ahead, and if you got nothing else.
Well, I do want to do my my little segment here of something stupid.
Oh, absolutely.
So, our last, our episode 1 got 46 views. And I broke it down to who watched and why.
Nice.
So first view was you, and just to make sure that you actually hit record. The second view was, of course, me, because I wanted to see if you could tell if I was on speed. The third view was DC Patrol, which, love you, buddy. But he just wanted to be first again.
Right.
Chris Evans watched one time, just to see if there was any Batman talk. Adam J. Anus, he also watched one time until he realized it wasn't dark and gritty.
That sounds like Adam.
I love that. Thanos watched one time. He was just looking for the Infinity Stones. Chris from Lost in Comments watched. He watched just until he knew that me and you weren't going to be a threat to his channel.
So about 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
Yeah, and if you would have waited till the second episode, not even recording. Let's see. Emmett from Gathering of the Geeks watched until I made the Canadian joke.
Right.
And my wife watched one time just to make sure that Steve was just some guy I knew on the internet. And then, of course, your wife watched for the exact same reason for me. And then the news by Greg Giraldo fans who were extremely disappointed. So you might have to look that up if you want to understand that joke.
Nice.
So that's my list.
Awesome. Good list. 46 views.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty good.
Like average of 5.5 minutes. It's good stuff.
Right. That's like the sex life of my entire marriage. 46 times for an average of 5.5 minutes.
Very nice.
And it's been almost 23 years. So or over 23 years now.
So she really can't.
So that's twice. Actually, the math works out good on that, right? That's twice a year.
She can't complain anymore.
That's right. No, she doesn't bother.
She had plenty of time to get out.
That's right. Too late. So anyway.
Oh man.
All right. That was a good list. Hopefully you are out there watching and you stick around for a little bit. We're going to do a little show and tell, and then we'll get into our lists. We're not going to keep you guys too long. Once you start running too long, people start losing interest, and I'm sure you're probably there already. So
including us.
Yeah, including us. That's right. So our first segment tonight is going to be, well, I guess it's our second segment. Take two. We're good at take twos. Is going to be our show and tell section. Segment. It's called You Show Me Yours, and I Will Show You Mine.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Love that too.
Yeah. So that was probably 30 of the views. We'd like to come in here just so we could watch clip over and over.
Yes, that would be the
I'll go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start here. My show and tell is going to be Elektra. It's issue 11 from around 2015. I don't know what volume that is, but this was the first comic that I ever bought. Walked into a comic book shop, saw it on the shelf. It looked pretty cool. And at the time, I didn't realize that comics weren't just individual one-shot stories, that they were actually story arcs. And that is the final issue of the very first story arc of that run. So
I'm curious how many more arcs there were in that run.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't buy issue 12. I reread that story the other day. It's pretty good. Elektra's fighting Bullseye, who has some sort of power where he inhaled this spirit that made him younger, because both Elektra and Bullseye are old, so he's younger now. So he's a lot stronger than Elektra while they're fighting, but she has some object, some skull or something that sucks the life out of him and turns him into an old man. And then it goes from there. So it was actually a pretty cool story, but I didn't go on from there. But that was my first comic I ever bought.
Nice. Okay, so this is different. So this is probably the first comic I spent more than cover price on. Thief of Thieves #1. I had just finished watching Comic Book Man, and all these people are buying all these books, selling books for money, and I find out that Thief of Thieves was optioned by Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman wrote the book, and it was optioned for a movie, and I was like, oh, I got to buy it. And I could sell it for probably $65 less than what I paid for it now. I probably wouldn't get that.
It's a good investment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's luckily at the time I was not married, and I didn't have to explain anything to anyone. So it's kind of set my tone for how I buy stuff now.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask you, do you think buying that spec early on kept you from getting into it later down the road? Helped you avoid it?
Yes. Now, do I still buy stuff occasionally on spec? Yeah, I'll buy issue ones. I won't pay more than cover price for them.
Sure.
Like I did with that one.
Right.
And I mean, seriously, it's like a 300% drop off from what I paid for them. It's something crazy.
Right.
So, yeah, it really, it really hit me. I can't watch a couple episodes of a TV show and think I know comics, So,
no.
So if you come here to learn anything, you won't learn anything from us.
No, that's true. You're right. There are far more intelligent people out there who talk about comics and TV shows who are far more knowledgeable than we are. But we're not here to be knowledgeable. We're just here to talk back and forth. So.
Yes.
But I guess that purchase was kind of like gambling. A lot of people, the first time they go gambling, they win a lot of money, and then they're addicted and hooked, and they end up, of course, paying it back 20 times. But if you go the first time and you lose, you're not as likely to go waste all that money. So it probably ended up saving you money in the long run.
Oh, it most definitely did.
Yeah.
Although I was looking at buying Gambit's first appearance for the X-Men, at
Right.
that time, and it's went up considerably since 2014 or 15, whenever that was.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's gone up pretty good. It's still moderately, I mean, relatively affordable for first appearance of a major character like that, but it has gone up.
Mm.
It's kind of like Booster Gold #1. It's gone up a little bit, but it's still compared to other stuff. You can afford it if you're willing to put out $100, $70 to 150, depending on condition you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those, if I'm no expert, but if you're looking to get into stuff, do some spec. That's the way to do it. Don't go out buying the $1,500 comics and expecting them to go up, which they may, but they may fall right off too. I think Adam Janis, I think he buys a lot of or owns a lot of first appearances of minor characters. I think that's something he actively looks for and likes collecting because you're getting them cheap. You can get a lot of them for cover price or just over, under $10 for a lot of those minor first appearances and stuff. So that's a fun way to do it too.
Yeah, like me collecting the Lemire covers. There's a couple that are spendy, but there's not a lot of them that are really spendy.
Right.
So, I mean, I think I spent $35 on one so far.
Yeah.
And I think that was Sweet Tooth. So,
yeah,
you can do what you enjoy and not spend a ton of money.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Or if you got the money to spare and nothing else to do with it, go buy what you want to buy.
Yeah, do whatever you want to with your money.
That's right.
And then brag about it on Twitter.
That's a must.
Yes,
that is a must.
It's what you have to do.
You can never come on there and say, "Man, I paid way more than I should have for that comic."
Although
anytime you talk about a comic, it has to be, "I got this at great price." Nobody's ever gotten a bad deal buying comics on Twitter, ever.
Yeah. Oh, well, when I post on Twitter, I scored with this.
So what was the first comic series you got into? Do you remember? Was it Star Wars
So I started the Star Wars in 2015, and also Chris Claremont had a Nightcrawler run,
right,
in 2015. I still have. I'm one short of that whole run. It was terrible. I mean, and that's probably kept me out of X-Men, which is probably a good thing, So, I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't found out anything about Nightcrawler since I was in high school, since the 90s. Right. And that was just from video games. And so, yeah, it did not go well for me.
Well, it's weird. You look at... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, even the Star Wars run, I love Star Wars, but I have a hard time with the comics. I just can't. It doesn't translate for me.
Right. Well, I mean, Star Wars, watching the movies and stuff, it's an event, and comic by comic's not an event. So,
even if the story is great,
right,
I have a hard time with it.
Right. But it's weird. You mentioned Nightcrawler and Gambit, and it just makes me think there are a lot of major characters out there who have never seemed to have a really good run of comics. Now, of course, there's going to be some Gambit or Nightcrawler fans out there who can list me 10 of each. But just, when you talk about the best comic runs ever, there's always these high profile characters that never have that run. You need to take a break?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep it rolling. We can edit it out.
Yeah, I gotta see what's going on with the cat and the dog. Be right back.
Yep. So if we don't edit this out, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm quite aware there's a glare on my glasses. The glare is actually coming from the screen. Something about the shape of my glasses. I could turn all the other lights off the screen. I can't get the background dark on StreamYard, or I don't know how to. So unless I do this or this, it's going to be there. If anybody knows how to dim that background, feel free to let me know. I just noticed the background of Jim's screen there. He has the Ant-Man blanket. And then I have Amazing Spider-Man quilt laying on my chair. He actually sent that to me as a gift. It's one of my favorite things. All right. So we are back. We left off talking about comics that should have been better than they were, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, but we will go ahead and move into our list for the night if you're ready to.
I am.
Week 1, we did the top 10 sitcoms. This week is the top 10 non-sitcoms. Everything other than sitcoms. They might be funny. They might not, but they're definitely not sitcoms. So, Jim, if you want to go ahead and start with number 10.
Okay, my number 10 is further up your list. So I'm just going to go to you for number 9. Or your number 10.
Okay. Well, you can still say what your number 10 is, and then we'll just move on and then talk about it once we get there.
Okay. My number 10 is Daredevil.
There you go. All righty. And again, once I get there, we'll talk about that. My number 10 is Supernatural. CW show lasted for, I think, 11 seasons. It's 2 demon hunters. Well, a bunch of demon hunters, but it's the 2 brothers hunting demons, and it gets pretty outlandish, but it's a good show, a lot of fun. They die about 20 times, come back.
See, I didn't know that.
Spoiler alert.
As you know, I've never seen an episode of this show.
Right. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. What's your number 9?
Might have to check it out. My number 9 is Hawkeye on Disney Plus.
Definitely.
Really enjoy Kate Bishop's character. Enjoy Clint Barton in this story. Enjoy the humor, the back and forth. Enjoy what action there is. Yeah, that's. I'm not sure I enjoyed Fisk that much in the series.
Right.
But I did enjoy I enjoyed it. It was fun, witty.
I agree. It's my favorite Disney Plus Marvel show so far. I love it. Good comedy, good action, good chemistry between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Made me interested in Kate Bishop, which I never really knew anything about her before. So.
Yes, you said it better than I did. The chemistry between the 2 leads was great.
Well, when it comes to the ins and outs of movie and TV stuff, I know all the terms.
Awesome.
I promise you that.
I also really enjoyed all the LARP stuff.
That was funny, wasn't it?
I got a kick out of that.
That was hilarious. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. My number 9 is Sherlock. Benedict Cumberbatch. And I still haven't looked up his name, but it's the guy that played Bilbo in The Hobbit. Of course, Benedict Cumberbatch is Sherlock, and the other guy is Watson. And it's like 3 episodes per season. I think there's 3 seasons. It's really short, but they're like an hour and a half each. A lot of fun.
I told you I'd watch the whole first season, and I'm not sure that I have. I probably just watched the first episode. And then fell asleep in episode 2 and 3. So,
well, they could get pretty sleepy episodes. They can be pretty sleepy episodes if you're not really into it. I can definitely see that. Their voices are
very slow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of excitement in the tone of their voice, but good show, well written.
Who was the bad guy? Was it his brother?
The bad guy?
Yeah, I just remember a bottle, or maybe I'm thinking of the movie Sneakers. I don't know, but I just remember take one of this or this, and okay, now I'm just making stuff up apparently. Yeah,
I would love to say you're right or wrong, but I can't remember.
Oh,
as is going to happen with another couple of shows on this list, I don't remember the exactly what happened in them. I just remember that I liked them when I watched them.
Okay.
So. All right, number 8.
All right, my number 8 is Sweet Tooth. Everyone knows I'm a big Jeff Lemire fan, and put his story on the screen, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that it was a different tone than the comic. It was much more optimistic. Sorry, I had a fly. Much more optimistic than the comic was, and they both worked. That's probably my favorite thing about the whole series is the difference between it and the comic were pretty drastic as far as tone, and yet they both were done very well.
So the season 1 take some stuff from like volume 2 of Sweet Tooth and integrate it in with the story?
There is some stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff in the first season that happens in the 3rd volume of the book.
Gotcha.
Nothing too major.
I'm really looking forward to episode 2 or season 2.
Me too.
I like the show a lot. My wife loves the show. Characters look great. These, one thing with all these streaming networks and stuff is the shows, they put some money into them.
Yes.
For the visuals, for sure. None more so than now with House of the Dragon and Rings of Power, right? But still, they look like movies. You can't really tell the difference.
Yeah, no, they are movies if you ask me.
Yeah, except they have more time to develop.
Yes, and
which is great.
Yeah, it's probably the best form of storytelling. Honestly,
I think so. It just seems that every series, even though it's the best form, they all have one episode that's kind of a throwaway episode that they could probably do without. But it's like, okay, we had to hit our 6 or we had to hit our 8 episodes, or they could have made it 7 and it would have been better without the. But it's nice to have an episode like that in there once in a while to just kind of change things up a little bit, give you a little something different.
Yeah, there's an episode I love that everyone hates that we're going to talk about later.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And my number 8 is your number 10, and that's Daredevil. Like I mentioned earlier, my wife and I are rewatching season 1 right now. It's just so good. So good. The characters they're cast perfectly, I think.
Yes.
They really, it feels like now when I read a Daredevil book, I'm seeing Charlie Cox. I'm not seeing Ben Affleck. I'm seeing Charlie Cox in the role.
No Jennifer Garner?
No.
Was she in the comic that you read?
Yeah, she is, yes. Yeah, that was 2015, so yeah, she was the only one I had to go off of.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I have never read Daredevil. Maybe I've read an issue or two. Well, no, I have read Zdarsky's, a little bit of his run.
Right.
But like the Frank Miller run, I had never read that. So I had no idea about the character. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a good story. I like Foggy. I like the girl's name, whatever that may be. So yeah, I enjoy the whole thing.
Sure. Yeah, me too.
You talked me into this. This was not on my list, and I kicked off something for this. So, and I haven't even finished season 3.
Right. And of course, season 4 is getting ready to come out pretty soon.
Yep. I think we're both looking forward to that.
Yep. Should be good. All right.
Okay.
So that was my number 8. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is higher up on your list is Stranger Things.
All righty. And we will talk about that in just a moment.
Okie dokie.
My number 7 is Boardwalk Empire. One of the first shows I ever really think I watched on HBO after we got it. And just from the beginning to the end, it's so good. It's a mob gangster movie set in the 1920s during Prohibition, or not movie, TV show set during Prohibition, and it just goes from there. As you move through the seasons, you get more characters whose names you recognize. You get Al Capone, you get a few others in there, and the story just keeps growing and growing. And Steve Buscemi is great in the role.
It's great in everything.
Yeah. What's your favorite, Steve Buscemi?
Oh, what's my favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever seen Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead?
I have not.
Okay, so he plays a hitman, and he does not have a lot of lines. But for some reason, when I think of Steve Buscemi, I think of that movie. And then also The Big Lebowski, which I know you're not a big fan of.
No. I don't think anybody is. I think people think that they're fans of that because everybody's a fan of it, but I don't think anybody actually is.
That makes me laugh because I enjoyed it a lot more when I was younger, and I thought it might be cool than I do now. But I still do enjoy it. I mean, it makes me want to drink White Russians. So,
yeah, I think my favorite role with him was probably the first role I remember seeing him in was Con Air.
Yeah,
right. And that was just creepy. I mean, he was not a nice guy in that, obviously, but he was really good. Have you seen what's the TV show with him and Harry Potter? I can't remember. Daniel Radcliffe. Have you seen that?
No, I didn't know he was in a TV show.
Oh yeah, it's on TBS, I think. And they're the first episode, I think Steve Buscemi is God and Daniel Radcliffe is one of the angels or something. Then there's season 2 is called Oregon Trail, I think, and it's a totally different. It's like an anthology story from season to season, so they're totally different characters, but they're still both the main stars that are in the show.
Interesting.
If anybody's still watching at this point, put it in the comments what show I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've only seen a few episodes. I haven't seen it all, but
nice.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's my number 7. What's your number 6?
My number 6 would be The Mandalorian.
Excellent show.
Yeah, it's easily the best Star Wars show, and probably my favorite thing since Disney bought Star Wars.
Right.
So,
yeah.
The characters are fantastic. I am excuse me. I am not a Force guy. I'm not a big fan of the Force. I want to see more regular characters saving the world than people with godly powers.
Right.
But even bringing in Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever his name is, I was okay with it because the story was so compelling and it was a relationship story between them two.
Right.
So.
And the nice thing is, too, that he's a completely new character for the show. Like,
yes.
You know, all the other shows, they're all characters we've seen in the movies. But this, he was brand new to us. A whole new story. There's maybe some books and stuff out there. The Mandalorians were in before this. I don't know, but as far as I know, this was the first one, and it goes into a whole new new lore.
I'm sorry.
No, we're good. We'll just keep talking over each other.
It'd be a Disney era novel,
right?
Which I haven't read. I read a lot of the pre-Disney era novels.
Right.
So my favorite episode of the whole series is the first episode.
Yeah.
I love the IG-88 fight scene. I love them. Just the spinning and the rotating and I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was the whole series.
And like we've discussed, the only not bad part, but part I wish was a little different was I wish they would have never unmasked him.
Yes, we did talk about that in the non-recorded episode 2.
Right. But I can't wait for season 2. And with it's Disney, and it's a great show for merchandise too. I mean,
oh yeah, they're making.
After we watched season 1, I wanted a Mandalorian statue.
Well, not just that, the Grogu little plush dolls. I mean, I don't know how much profit they're making on per doll, but I don't think it mattered because they were selling 1 billion of them.
Oh yeah. And I'm trying to remember how many episodes it took before people realized it wasn't Baby Yoda.
Well, just
probably until they gave him his name, right? Yeah.
Well, just in the timeline, it couldn't be Baby Yoda. Well,
But
and
a lot of viewers that watch it though don't pay attention to that stuff. That's
true.
something we've talked about before. We in our little community we pay attention to quite a few things like that, but in the real world, I bet 80 to 90% of people.
Now that I agree with 100%. No one takes this stuff anywhere near as serious as we do and our friends
Right.
on Twitter.
It's funny. I talked to my dad about the MCU, and he couldn't care less if they were all intertwined or not. He knows them all as standalone movies, and he either likes them or he doesn't care what's happening next or what happened in the last movie. It's all just standalone. And I think that's maybe
That's how
better.
I am. That's how I
Yeah.
am with the MCU. So
Right.
I don't need the connectivity. Okay.
All right. My number 6 is Stranger Things, which was your number 7.
Yes.
We just finished season 4. One more season to go, I think, right? 5. They're finishing it after 5.
Well, the kids have to
Yeah.
be out of high school sooner or later.
I don't know. They made it volume 2 and brought back the.
Yeah. Well, they could have the college years, kind of like Saved by the Bell did.
That would be awesome. Stranger Things.
The college
Mr.
years.
What's the principal's name?
Belding.
Belding. That would be amazing.
That would be fantastic. That's an opportunity.
What a crossover. Like they show up and there's Slater and Zach.
I'm so excited. See, I sang in the last episode too. And,
You did.
And now I'm singing this one. Man.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So what's your favorite season of Stranger Things?
Oh, season 1.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
My wife loves this show. I really enjoy it. Obviously, it's my top 10, but there's not a whole lot of stuff that I watch in this. So making my top 10 is probably not as special as other people's top 10. But yeah, the first season I like the whole D&D aspect and discovering Eleven's powers. It was just pretty awesome.
Right. Yeah, because as you go on, they start getting a little bit older, and we talked about, I can't even really remember season 2. Season 1 I can remember almost everything that happened. Season 2, if somebody mentions it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. But I can't just name episodes off the top of my head and what happened in it. So, yeah, not a perfect show, but
entertaining,
pretty good.
Entertaining.
It is very entertaining. So that's my number 6.
Okay, so my number 5 would be WandaVision.
Number 5. Because we're that cool.
Oh, we did it twice for.
We did it twice. Well, we do all our shows twice.
For the top 10 list. Yeah. Paying homage to the back 5. Yeah. So WandaVision. I love the Scarlet Witch. Well, let me correct this, and I'll explain this again. I'm not the biggest fan of the Scarlet Witch. I'm not the biggest fan of Elizabeth Olsen. Put them together, and I'm a huge fan. I can't figure it out. All I know is I really like her playing this character. I loved her in Endgame. It made me go back and watch Age of Ultron and everything else. I find her so compelling, and her and Thanos' exchange in Endgame. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will.
Yeah.
I was hooked. That was it. Yeah. That was all I needed. That's my favorite moment in the entire MCU, and it's not close for me. So So yeah, I love it. I love the show.
I like the TV episode, the way they did it through the decades. That was pretty cool. That was a unique idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a gamble.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Halfway through episode 1, I was kind of, I don't really know, but I'll stick with it. And then as it kept going and going and going, it got better. It got stronger as it went through. I thought, or more watchable for me. Maybe not stronger, but just more watchable for me.
Yes. And then it got into the decades that we grew up watching TV.
Right.
So that was fun to see. So the whole Malcolm in the Middle introduction, it was just fun to watch.
Yeah, it was.
For me.
Yeah, they played on the nostalgia really well.
Yes. Yes, they did. Which, if you do that right, you're going to make money.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. My number 5 is your number 4. So I will go ahead and mention that my number 5 is Ted Lasso.
I should probably talk about it. It's higher on my list, huh?
Yeah, that's why I said it's your number 4. That's
so,
why that was long pause.
Oh, well, that's what we do. You're lucky I'm not doing it in between words and sentences. So, Ted Lasso.
That was a Friends reference you missed there. The long pause. Remember Joey's reading the script?
Oh.
And he reads long pause like he thought it was the guy's
I'm sorry. I was going to do the fart acting.
Oh. Anyway, sorry. Ted Lasso.
No, it's okay. That's I told you were better at Friends than I was. Wow. That makes me sound like a terrible human being, don't it? No, Ted Lasso. Let's get back to that. So season 1 is probably one of my favorite seasons of TV. I really enjoyed how uplifting it was. And when I went back and watched it a second time with subtitles where I understood everything they said, it was even funnier than it was the first time.
Right.
So, I mean, I actually understood the jokes, so it was great. And he has the same feeling about tea that I do. So, up until that point, I thought I was the only one.
I lived in England for 8 years, and the tea thing is real.
Oh, I know.
Now, when they say it's tea time, that doesn't mean they're going to have tea. That's dinner time or early, supper or whatever. But tea is their thing, and they drink it with cream or milk, and I don't get that. I can't. I like tea, but I can't do it with milk. Sorry to all our British fans out there. I'm not meaning to knock your tea drinking methods, but
see, I will. I agree with Ted Lasso 100%. It tastes like dirty water. I don't understand it. It does not taste good to me in the least. But
anyway, Ted Lasso.
Like what you like. Yeah, Ted Lasso is just great. The characters are funny. Even characters that you start off hating, you end up loving. Characters that you love, you end up loving even more. It's just season 2 was a bit of a downer for me towards the end, just because I didn't want that. I love the uplifting, and I know you need conflict. If you don't have conflict, you don't have a show,
right?
And you have to get it from somewhere. So,
sure,
they did it well. It's just not quite as uplifting as season 1 was for me.
And the thing about season 2 is they kind of created that conflict by giving Nate all that confidence. Like they built that part of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
And there's things in season 1 that he does that shows he could go that way that I can't remember right now off the top of my head. But I mean, it definitely wasn't the wild swing that some people say it was.
No, you could definitely see it building.
Yes.
But Ted Lasso is probably the purest character, like the nicest to the core character there is. I don't know anybody else who could be that forgiving of everybody around him. And
no, that's true. No, that was an SNL character, I believe. It was a character he created.
Really?
It was a character he created before the show. There's skits on YouTube you can check out.
Gotcha.
Now I don't know if it was SNL. I'm just talking out of my butt there, but it is something he's been doing a while, and then they just made a whole show about it. So
I didn't know that. And of course, season 3 is going to be the final season, which should lead up to a redemption story. And
I would assume.
Do you think they purposely modeled this off of Major League? So let's do a soccer show.
I heard people say that. I do not remember enough about Major League to even Well, I would have never made that comparison. So,
Okay.
so I can't answer that because
That was my first thought, because you had the female team owner that came in and wanted to destroy the team. So she traded away all the best players and brought in all these nobodies, hoping to tank it so that she could get rid of it or whatever. And that's kind of how season 1 was.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I will say this: I think Ted Lasso did it better.
Oh, I agree.
So
I agree.
and,
I mean, they had longer than an hour and a half to do it too.
Yeah, and Major Leagues. My wife loved that movie.
Yeah.
So I like Bob Uecker.
Yeah. You remember his TV commercials he used to have? He was the Miller Lite spokesperson for quite a while back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. That. He was the Beast, I think is what he was called. But he did a lot of... Anyway, that's way off topic.
They need to bring back Bitter Beer Face. Love that. Okay, so where are we at here?
That was number 4. Are you done with Ted Lasso?
Yep. I'm done.
All right, takes me to my number 4, which is Game of Thrones.
Which my wife
just love this. Love this series. Love this series from start to finish. I can't tell you more than 10 characters' names through the 6 seasons, 7 seasons, whatever it is, 8 seasons. I don't know. I don't remember. But the main characters are great. It's just action. It's storytelling. It's conflict. It's rooting for the good guy, and it's hoping that it ends a certain way. I mean, I think that's what.
So who's the good guy?
I think that the good guy, personally, I think the good guys were the Starks.
Yeah, so Jon Snow.
Right.
Which he wasn't a Stark. He was a...
Well, he was.
I found out who he was from my wife, so...
Right. He thought he was, and then he wasn't, because there was a whole thing later on. But he was still raised with that family.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I guess Daenerys Targaryen, she was a good guy. Good woman, good girl, whatever you want to call her.
I guess she freed people, and then...
She did. She freed a lot of people.
And then did she give them an option to join her, or did she just say, "Okay, I freed you. You're helping me"?
Yeah, well, pretty much there was like an option, but not an option. Like,
you got dragons behind you.
Right.
You can sway people.
There's going to be a war, and you could either be on the side with the dragons or the side against the dragons, right? So.
Yeah, I think I had told you during our last conversation. I won't even say recording. That I had read the first 2 or 3 books and watched the first season, and I just gave up. And not out of that it wasn't good. It just felt like nothing's good that's going to happen to any of these people. So right. I stopped watching and I stopped reading. So.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. You got anything else there?
Nope. That takes us to number 3.
All right. My number 3 is Only Murders in the Building, which is currently my favorite show on TV. I really enjoyed season 1, but season 2 knocked it out of the park for me.
Right.
I find the writing on this show probably the best writing I've seen on TV. It's very character specific. It's written for those characters, those actors, that show. It makes me laugh every week.
Yeah, it's funny.
I don't think I can say anything more about a show than that. If it makes me laugh every week, I'm happy with it.
I agree. No, I love it too. And I didn't think I would because I'm not a short fan, but he's perfect in the role that he has. The writing for him is great. I laugh a lot too. Just constant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. So when did you figure out the killers in either season before they were revealed?
Season 1, no. I looking back on it, I should have, but I didn't. Season 2, she was probably top 2 picks for me of who it was, just because usually characters like that aren't in the story unless it's for some bigger reason.
Mhm.
So kind of knew, but I never actually guessed it. I never was like 100% sure.
So one thing I would have loved to see in season 1 was like a community of bassoon players saying it's her and this is the reason why. Because that would have been great. There was no bassoon players that knew that was not a sex toy, and that would have been
Right.
great.
Right.
I mean, I think we all leap to the sex toy too soon.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the last episode was probably my favorite episode of the
Great.
2 seasons.
Slow
We
motion
talked about the
tomatoes.
tomato scene. Yeah.
But yeah, laugh out loud, and it shouldn't be as funny as it is. That's the thing.
No.
Is if you would tell me that there's going to be people acting in slow motion and they're going to cut a tomato, I would have looked at you like you were crazy if you thought I was going to laugh at that.
Right.
And me and my wife were about in tears. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it was hilarious the way they did it. Within the first 30 seconds of that episode, though, as soon as they started accusing Tina Fey's character, I was like, okay, I know it's. I figured out. I knew what they were doing. I'm sure 90% of the people out there did too. They made it pretty obvious, but that wasn't what that episode was about. It wasn't about a big surprise. So
I didn't know. I don't.
No?
I put a lot of thought into it actually, but I put too much thought into it. I was still on Marv. I was still on Tina Fey.
Well, see, Marv was my pick. Like, he was
Yeah.
my pick. I think I'd mentioned to you and Chris a few episodes before that I thought it was one of the fan club. And then when he was around so much, my thoughts was, well, he's what was the killer's name? The serial killer that had been around in the past that they talked about. I figured that was going to end up being
an
him.
show.
Right. But anyway, no, it's good. It's such a good show.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not my top 10.
It will be soon.
It will be. Yes, it will be. All the shows in my top 4 are series that have finished all the way through, and I think that's what keeps Ted Lasso, Stranger Things, from not being in the top 5 yet.
And I can see that. It's just there's so many of these shows that I haven't watched all the way through anyway.
Right.
That I mean, my top 2 I have.
Right.
I've watched every episode, so let's get to those.
Yes. Okay. My number 3 is Breaking Bad, and we'll come back to that in a second.
My number 2 is Breaking Bad.
Right.
So I will let you go first.
Okay. We're rewatching this right now. We just started season 2. God, the first time it was very, very dark, hard to watch at some points. It didn't seem like there was a lot of fun tone. It was very dark. Watching the second time through, the dialogue between Jesse and Walt cracks me up constantly. Their dynamic between the two of them through the first season, at least, is just, it's something else. It's great writing. It's just hilarious. Me and my wife are cracking up the whole time. Which you don't think of Breaking Bad as, hey, there's a lighthearted.
Yeah, that's what's this lighthearted meth making show.
Right.
Although I catch myself making a lot of Breaking Bad jokes. That sounds stupid, but people compare. What I did it on Twitter the other day when I said, yeah, well, once Breaking Bad came out, everyone was wanting to make meth. I don't know. I can't even think of the situation now, but it made me laugh. It was funny. Go back to my tweet replies and find that joke.
Yeah.
No, it was a very heavy show. Probably the heaviest show that I've ever liked as much as I do.
Right.
We just rewatched an episode was on TV and we left it on, and it was one where there was Skylar and their son and Walter he was trying to get him to leave the house and she pulled a knife on him.
All right.
And I actually didn't even remember that episode. That's how long it's been since I actually watched it. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is intense, So I might be able to watch that again because I had told you that I have trouble watching shows again,
Sure.
dramas. So I got caught up in that episode. I might go back and try it again. So
Yeah, give it a shot, or finish some of those shows that you've never watched.
why would I do that? I can watch Friends and The Big Bang Theory. Why would I go back?
Yeah. Right. I agree. Cool. No, it's a great show, and I'm enjoying it more. We just finished 5 seasons of Better Call Saul, waiting for season 6 to come on streaming for free, and seeing some of the characters from that show on Breaking Bad. It's crazy. The main bad guy, the guy that's in a wheelchair, Salamondo, I think is his name. He's the mob or the leader of that part of the family.
I don't know his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of it. But he actually looks older in Breaking Bad than he does in Better Call Saul. Well, and Better Call Saul came out 6 or 7, 8. How many years after? 9 years? 10 years after?
I'm not sure. But, well, they do pretty amazing stuff now with makeup.
Oh, yeah. But all the other characters, like Mike, Mike looks a lot older in Better Call Saul than he does in Breaking Bad. So I found that pretty cool.
Ben Wyatt's dad, right? Anyway, Parks and Rec. So, quick connection there.
You were quick on that. I didn't even catch it.
Okay.
Anything more about Breaking Bad?
No. How'd you like the finale?
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I loved it.
Did you ever watch the miniseries El Camino or whatever with Jesse?
Yeah. That was okay.
That was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to go back and watch it again, but
yeah, I felt like
it was
a real cash grab.
Yeah. Which it worked. A lot of stuff is cash
grab. Yeah, it worked. We
watched it. Right.
Okay. Where are we at?
We are at my number 2, which is The Walking Dead. It's coming to an end here this season, the final season of the main story of The Walking Dead. Going to be sad to see it go. We've been watching it since the beginning. Just such good storytelling. Again, it gets a little heavy because they never seem to come out on the bright side of anything. It's like as soon as they're in the light, something bad happens. Yes. And but I think in a zombie apocalypse, there wouldn't be a whole lot of bright moments.
Yeah, I guess.
Or there may be some, but they're just not. There's a lot of time jumps and stuff. Between season 7 and 8, I think there's a 6-year time jump. So life in that 6 years was pretty good. They just don't show it to us.
Yeah. Do you think if they would have injected themselves with some kind of human disease like Brad Pitt did in World War Z, they would have been okay?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so, Tim.
I've told you that I think I've watched the first season, the first 20 comics or something like that, and I jumped out. Too heavy for me.
Right.
Too much bad stuff happening. This is us with zombies.
Right.
So I can't handle that. I want some laughter and enjoyment.
Sure.
From not just me, for the characters.
Right. So. Well, there's actually been some of the sideshow spinoffs that have teased that the walkers, the zombies, are actually kind of mutating a little bit to where they're getting these powers now, where they can, not powers, but they can now like use their hands to do stuff. They can open doors. Some of them are getting faster, can run. There's even a scene on, I forget, Fear the Walking Dead maybe, where they show one that's running just real briefly. So
you think it's because they're hitting their teenage years and their X gene is kicking in?
There you go. It could be.
That's my money. My money's on that.
All right.
Yeah, no, I can't add anything to this conversation besides
Cool.
jokes.
No problem. No problem. And the number one, we are on to your number one and my number one.
Yes. And it's the same.
It is.
And it is.
Hold on just 1 second. Lost.
Lost. Yes. I had never watched this show until you recommended it, and it was just this year. And me and my wife watched all 6 seasons as fast as we could, which is about 2 episodes a night.
Right.
And we loved every second of it. I had seen the pilot a few times, but I never moved past that. And then, per your recommendation, we started it. We loved it. I even like the episodes people say they don't like. The Nikki and Paolo episode.
Yeah.
I find it very entertaining. It don't add to the story. I agree, but I sure loved it.
Well, I think I mentioned to you that I had a theory on that episode that I thought was going to come back later on. When they first showed Locke in his coffin, Chris, close your ears if you're watching, because you haven't watched season 6 yet. So, spoiler alert. It's only been 12 years. When he comes back and he's in the coffin, I thought maybe that they'd use that venom from those spiders on him to paralyze him so that people would think he was dead. And I thought that would have brought that episode that everybody complained about because it was a complete standalone and didn't relate to anything, and it would have made it at least a little bit relevant to everything else that was going on.
So I just thought of this, and I know you mentioned it last week, but John Locke was also inside the temple already.
Yes.
So if he was in the coffin and the temple, people would have been.
Well, they showed him in the coffin the previous season, in the Jeremy Bentham episode.
Oh, that's right.
Or maybe that was season 4, season 5.
Five,
at the end of season 4, the one where they're trying to get back to the island and Jack goes into the
yes, you're right.
Or the funeral home. Yeah. I thought that maybe that had been used on him at that point.
Okay, and so you think Ben would have done that to get Jack to go back?
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that was my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
and that would have tied everything together.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I should have been the writer.
I agree.
Abrams and Lindelof knew nothing. Like, they're just making it up as they go. But I had the real ideas.
Yes.
Now, there was some cool stuff, though, that, we catch stuff every time we rewatch. We rewatch it about once a year, the entire series. And we always catch something new.
Yeah, we started an immediate rewatch. We didn't make it very far because stuff started coming out. But
life, yeah.
But yeah, I love the ending. I know it's kind of split if people love it or not. I sure did. I don't have a problem with it. Let's put it this way. It's not like I had a better idea in my head. I'm not like you. It was just great. Time travel just gets me.
Time travel was perfect. Loved it.
And I know we had talked about my hatred of Sawyer.
Yeah.
And I still hate him in the first season. But once he meets Juliet, he becomes one of my favorite characters. I just enjoy that couple.
Right. So. Well, they have a character, I think, for everybody to like or dislike. I think they keep except for Kate. I don't think anybody likes Kate, and I don't think anybody should like Kate.
She makes me not like the Wasp.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty bad. She might as well have been in a sophomore in high school. No offense to all the sophomores in high school watching, but just her.
Okay, gotcha.
With the whole love triangle thing. And
yes.
I want him, and I don't really want him, but I don't want you to have him. And,
yes, and
that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really annoying.
Yeah.
And
it was
kind of a major part of the show for me to love the show as much as I do and not like that.
Right. Yeah. And so many moments, too. I think about the moments that stick out are the end of the first season with the light coming on in the hatch, wondering what was going on. And then the first time they zoom out on the other's camp or town, that was a pretty cool moment. Ben saying we have to move the island. It's like, what the? So some really good moments.
I'm trying to think of Michael shooting Libby and the cop woman.
Yeah. Anna Lucia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty drastic.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. Boy, no other moments really stick out to me at the moment, but there's a
And the time paradoxes, right? We talked about this the other night too. The pocket watch
yes.
itself has no origin because Locke gave it to Richard in the past, and then Richard gave it to Locke in the future and told him to give it to himself in the past. So there's no origin for that.
Did you think Jack's dad had a bigger role than what he ended up having?
What do you mean? Did I think he would have a bigger role?
So he's on the island, remember? And
Uh-huh.
he's in the cabin and all that. But that couldn't have been Jack's dad.
No, that was the smoke
Man in
monster.
Black.
That was Man in Black the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. So up until season 6, I thought it was all going to be Jack's dad was going to have a major role in the story.
Right.
And pretty much all he did was tell everyone why they're in the church at the end. So
Right. Yeah, it seemed like up until then the only purpose was to make Jack look back on stuff, maybe, and to was it the first season that he actually gave that first little glimpse that Sawyer was a human being when Sawyer revealed to him that he'd met his father and talked to him.
Was that the first season?
That was when they shortly after they tortured Sawyer. So yeah, that would have been the first season.
Really? I don't remember
Yeah.
that. I don't remember that happening that soon.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'll have to.
Because Sawyer was still quite a major outcast at that point.
Yeah, but I also thought they were already going home. They were getting ready to go home.
You know what? You may be right.
I think I am.
That would have been season 2. Yeah, because they were building the raft already, weren't they?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
you're right. You're right.
But no, I've only watched it once. You've seen it 8 times.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. When we watch them back to back, so the seasons kind of just blend together.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, great.
One thing I'm noticing with all these episodes, a lot of our top shows, a lot of the best shows, a lot of people don't like the way these shows ended.
I think that has to do with speculation of how they think it should end.
Right.
And, well, expectations, obviously.
Right.
Because I'm all about speculating. I love it. That, to me, that's one of my favorite parts of watching the show is trying to guess what's going to happen. But I also don't set speculation without expectation.
Right.
Is what I try for. I did that with WandaVision, and people about died when things didn't happen. And to me, I didn't know any of those characters anyway that they wanted to show up, so I didn't care.
Right. Sure. But yeah, with Breaking Bad, with Game of Thrones, with Lost, a lot of people were disappointed in the shows just because of the way it ended. And it's sad to let something like that just ruin your whole experience with those episodes, with those shows.
I'm kind of curious how people wanted Breaking Bad to end then.
Right.
Family
Suddenly cured of cancer? I don't know.
Yeah, Family Picnic.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think that's my list.
So that is our top 10.
All right.
Non-sitcoms. Now we're going to have to figure out what we do next episode.
Top 10 episodes of our top 10 sitcoms.
There you go. And we'll start with our. Yeah, that would take care of our next 100 episodes.
Oh, of each.
We just do one per show of number 10.
We can really shut it down. I mean,
we could.
We can really put the timestamp on us.
We only have to make it to episode 135.
Oh, just to beat Chris?
Yeah, just to beat Lost in Comics. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we can.
Well, we're not live, so.
Well,
it says live in the corner.
It does say live, unless you're in one of those other locations.
Yes. Well, it actually says live in the top corner of the screen, not on the bottom. It's weird. So,
It is confusing. But I did hit record this time, so we're getting better.
all right.
Yeah,
Baby
we're
steps.
getting better. And we're going to try and keep this show under an hour, preferably. Sometimes we get talking about stuff like this, and it's just going to ramble on, and we don't want to ramble too much. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Fantasy football. I'm playing you this weekend, and most of my starters are questionable, so I had to start all my bench players, and
Well,
it's looking pretty good for you.
Make sure you click on their cues and see if they're expected to play or not.
Oh, I did. It's still
Okay.
unknown.
Okay.
And when I have one of them's a Thursday night player, I can't wait until Friday or Saturday. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I had to start Tyler Higbee at tight end instead of Kittle this weekend. So
that's rough.
yeah, Kittle has a groin. Well, he has a groin strain.
Injury.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll see what the outcome is of that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe my running backs for the Saints will run for about 300 yards and catch 4 touchdown passes. Kamara, he's got to have a big week for me to have a shot. Who's your quarterback?
Jalen Hurts this week.
That could hurt you.
No, he's playing Detroit. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we're way off topic. Okay, sorry. Sorry, people who are probably asleep.
We just lost all the comic people.
This is like the this is like the Fantastic Four section of Lost in Comics where Adam just kind of dozes off. So that's going to be it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you watch, leave some comments for us. Anything we got wrong, feel free to leave it in the comments. We probably won't check it, but let us know anyway.
We just we'll ignore it.
Right. Yeah, we know that we don't know what's going on. So appreciate you guys paying attention. You got any closing words, Jim?
No, thanks for watching, and have a great week.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.